All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now, Kevin Lee got thrown out of the UFC, and it's a scandal, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because you don't know. You don't know. That's why I have to expose the real reason that Kevin Lee got thrown out of the UFC, okay? Now, you might know it, you might not. Who knows? And if you already knew it, and you think that I misrepresented what this video was going to be, I'm going to say two things. You can dislike this video. Oh, no, you can't. Can't dislike the video anymore. So this is me kind of protesting the dislike lack of said button. I'm not happy about that at all, YouTube. I want the dislike button. But in all honesty, I'm totally serious. If you like the dislike button, like this video, just so I can see how many people are upset about the fact that we don't have a dislike video, because I'm really pissed. Like, I really am. Anyway, so here we go. So Kevin Lee is out. He's out of the UFC. Now, recently he got popped for taking Adderall. He pissed hot for Adderall, and he was gonna get suspended, or he already did get suspended, right? So he is basically having compounding problems. Pissed hot for Adderall, lost 4 out of 5 fights, but here's the thing. Kevin Lee is one of the most marketable fighters that the UFC has ever let go, and I will stand by that. I really will. But there are a lot of things at play here, okay? Number one, if you lose 4 out of 5 fights, right? What is the UFC, they can't just put you in there over and over and over if you got, 8 straight losses. 4 out of 5 is not a good look, dude. Okay? It's just not. 4 out of 5 fights is not good. And it's not like right before that he had wins. I'm pretty sure that was actually like on the back of not a great run either. Anyway, it's anything over there. Here's the deal. Okay, if you're losing fights and you get suspended and you're not John Jones, oh wait, John Jones never lost the fights. If you just you're gonna get cut, dude. But here's the thing. I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about Kevin Lee's psychology and why he's losing fights, in my opinion. And then I also want to talk about this thing that happens when you get into this like bad cycle in the UFC. Like, people get into this little space right here that leads to their demise, the demise of their career, okay? Because Kevin Lee just experienced it, and I'm going to tell you exactly what that is, okay? So, first of all, let's talk about his psychology, right? So why is he one of the more marketable fighters? Why, right? It's because he's super good looking. It's because he could just double as a model. I look at him, I'm like, damn, is that an MMA fighter? Or is that a piece of ass I'd like to melt a fucking stick of butter on? What? What? Okay. But he's a good looking dude, right? He's young, he's good looking, he's in great shape, he's a good fighter, and he's brash. He can talk, right? He can talk. Now, he's always a little bit cringe for me. Like, it's always a little bit forced for me. Seems a little bit hollow to me. Yo, I'm gonna do blah, blah, blah. And here's the thing. Okay, so when the King of Cringe does it, when Triple C does it, I could tell he underneath is built on solid ground and he's like being cringe on purpose. I mean, obviously he calls himself the King of Cringe. But there are other guys that they're doing the cringe thing. They're clearly doing it on purpose. Colby, perfect example. He's cringing on purpose. And there are other people where I'm like, I think he's really trying to sell this. Like, I think he's actually really trying to sell this and he's being cringe. I'm not saying for sure this is Kevin Lee, because I'm certainly not trying to make a video where I'm kicking the guy when he's down, because I am saying he's very marketable. He's a very good fighter. Lots of women and homosexual dudes would love to melt a stick of butter on the guy, I'm sure, okay? But I think that he might fall into a category which I am very aware of, which is some people are not built to talk shit before athletic events, okay? Like, and I'm not talking about like don't have the ability to talk shit, right? Like, there are lots of people that have great ability to talk shit and it's not good for them, okay? And I'll tell you how I know that. I'm one of them, okay? I'm one of them. So I'm gonna just this is something I actually had not even thought about. I've been talking so much shit about what people should do before their fights and what they shouldn't do. Dustin Poirier should call for a blood feud. He's your murderer. This guy should say this, okay? And I stand by all of those things from purely a promotional perspective. But nothing trumps whether or not you win the fight, okay? I will say that. And me personally, I've known since I was extremely young, okay? Psychologically, for me to go into an athletic event or some kind of competition where I need to, combine my mental and my body and all that to win, the worst thing I can do is talk a bunch about how I'm going to win, right? Like, seriously, like, dude, I'm gonna crush these guys. That's the worst thing for me. That is the worst thing. I've known that since I was very, very young, and I don't do it, okay? I don't do it. I never have done it. Anybody who actually knows me and has competed with me in anything knows that what you would expect from me when you see me on camera is not how I actually roll. I don't talk shit. I'm extraordinarily humble. I keep it quiet because what I've realized is all that talk, I internalize it. I just do. And I put a bunch of pressure on myself. Like, it's like, I've talked all this shit and it's like, now I have to win and I'm thinking about it. Like, as opposed to, I go in quiet and they don't see me coming. You know, they have no idea what to think because I haven't said a fucking thing about it. They have no idea what they're going to get, right? They just don't know. Quiet, calm, and then they find out. That's how I like to bring it. That's how I've always competed. And I'm not saying that as a good thing. It's actually not a good thing as it relates to the fight game because I for sure would fuck myself mentally if I went out and did all the things that I'm telling everybody else. Only the things where I directly talk about a specific fight. Oh, this guy wants, oh, dude, you're going to find out. Blah, blah, blah. The more dismissive I am of them, the more mind-fucked I am myself. Mind-fucking myself, okay? And so I think Kevin Lee is in the business of mind-fucking himself. I think he's the king of mindfuck. I think that as much as Conor can mindfuck his opponents, Kevin Lee can mindfuck himself better than anybody. I really do. I think that like he might be the best mindfucker ever, except he only mindfucks himself. You know? Like his mental game is clearly not good. And I can recognize all these things that he does. So like the Tony Ferguson fight, right? Like, so right at the peak of his career where he was winning, he gets that fight. He's going to go fight Conor for the belt. You know, it's like something like that. And he, you know, in his mind, I'm going to get the belt. This is it. My whole life. We're going to this moment. He was in good shape. He was confident there. And this is before he mind fucked himself. But what he did do is he didn't think, right? So he gets himself all fired up and he wasted fucking 50% of his energy before he even got into the octagon. Okay? I challenge you guys to go watch that fight. Like, just watch his entrance. Watch how much energy he expended in the entrance. And people, if you think that like you can't wear yourself out, that's ridiculous. And I genuinely now, as an older person who's like actually analyzed people's athletic performance and what they're doing, I really think that, and this is also from listening to people, I think Khabib, I think Makhachev, I think both the Emelianenkos, I think that especially from Eastern Europe and Russia and those areas, they are very cognizant of not expending any energy the day of the fight. Like you see those guys like Alexander Emelianenko is like, he looks like he's gonna fall asleep. And as soon as the bell rings, not sleeping anymore. Fedor, same thing. Khabib, same thing. You know, Makhachev, same thing. They're like, I've never seen any of them get super amped up and be jumping in the air, running down to the octagon. That's not something they do, right? That's not something they do. And you also don't tend to see guys like that get super gassed out either. Every bit of energy you're pulling from your reserves that you need to beat this other guy. Kevin Lee just completely wasted. I mean, I don't know about half, but I would guarantee you he dumped 20% of his energy before the fight even started. Bad mental game, right? Not smart mental game. And then I think from there, he started talking and he started mind fucking himself, dude. Like he just started mind fucking himself. And you can tell from a couple other things too. The Charles Oliveira thing where he fake tapped, you know, like that's the fake, like the tap and then pretend you didn't tap. That tells me a lot. And I'm not saying he's like a dishonest guy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's like a cheater, although that kind of was that, but that's not what I'm talking about. That is a person who has been drained of their confidence completely. Where in his mind, he's like, I have to win this fight. I absolutely have to win this fight. Like the anxiety of I have to win this fight is at an all-time high, and the confidence you're going to win is at an all-time low. That's what leads to a person to tap and pretend like they didn't tap. Okay? Like that's just is what it is. And then after going on a streak of you know, bad outcomes, to go get a gladiator tattoo on the back of your head is the exact same thing. You know, it's exactly the same. It's like, and let me just say this. Look, like I know what it feels like to get a tattoo that, you know, you're kind of like, what the fuck was I thinking? So I'm not like Kevin Lee. I'm not saying this is a bad tattoo. As a matter of fact, as a fighter, it's kind of a fucking badass tattoo, you know, whatever. No one, who gives a shit what I say and who gives a fuck what other fighters say, right? Like to any civilian, to any fucking like regular person, like if you're stacking yourself up against people, like you're like, yeah, I've been losing some fights. It's like, okay, cool. So what, there are 10 people in the world that are your size that can beat you up? People are all, God, that guy sucks now. You're all, really? There are 10 people in the world that can beat him up. Do you think you're one of those 10? Are you one of the 10 that can beat up Kevin Lee? Probably not. Might not even be fucking 10, dude. Okay? So, yeah, unless you are named Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, fucking Conor McGregor, Tony Ferguson, Khabib, Islam Makhachev, whoever else in that division might be ranked above him. Charles Oliveira, obviously. Dustin Poirier, shut the fuck up if you're not them, okay? Like, shut the fuck up. Oh, that guy sucks. Look at his stupid tattoo. Hey, why don't you say it to his face, dude? Hey, find out if you're in the top 10. See what happens if that guy decides to turn his violent ways in your direction, because he'll break every bone in your body and then he'll decapitate you if he feels like it. Or he might just let you go, So the tattoo on the back of his head of like a gladiator helmet, I'm not moving away from what I said. That absolutely is like the move of a person desperate to maintain, I am still a fighter. This is still my life. I'm so sure of that I'm going to go get a fucking tattoo on my head that's immovable because now I'm fully committed to this life. Believe me, I know that's why you did that. Maybe you would have needed a psychiatrist to tell you that, but that's why you did it, And that's fine. That's the thing. You did it out of insecurity. Like you did it because you really needed to tell yourself a thing. But here's the thing. You stumbled onto a true thing. Like you stumbled onto something that's totally true. You would win in a fight against every other person in the fucking world that's your size outside of maybe 10 people. Even fucking up to, 190 pounds. So there's fucking 25 people that would win in a fight, maybe 30 maximum globally. You're good. Okay, you can roll that tattoo and feel totally fine about yourself. Don't ever feel stupid about that tattoo, ever. Because that is what you are. You're a fucking fighter. You've proven it. But that tattoo comes from a person who's trying to tell himself a story. So there's that. Now I want to talk about the other thing, right? So this has to do with the actual UFC. So think about this, right? So Kevin Lee fell victim to a phenomenon that I don't have a word for that I will think of at some point during this video, which is you get trapped in the star cycle. Let's call it the star cycle, right? Thought of this right now. And what the star cycle is when you get to a certain point, right? When you're at a certain point of how good you are and how popular you are, that can work in your favor, that can work against you, whatever. But the bottom line is this. In the UFC, okay, the way that this works, you get one shot in the limelight, okay? Now, your shot is not one fight necessarily, but you get one shot, okay? And it's a series of fights. You make it into the limelight, you can't get out of the limelight while you're in the limelight. Okay, so if you get to be Kevin Lee, you get to be a big enough star, you start fighting the top guys, you drop a fight, okay, you don't get to go back down in the dark, dude. Okay, you're in the star cycle now. You're in the lights. Okay, you can't go down and fight number 12. There are no fucking tune-up fights. Okay, there are no fucking tune-up fights. You asked for the big show. You wanted the big show. You fucking got the big show. You are in the lights now. So when you drop a couple fights and you're like, man, I really wish, can they give me a tune-up fight? It's like they can't. They can't give you a tune-up fight, dude. You are too big of a star to put on the undercard, okay? And what that means is this guy's not a big enough star to be on the main card, okay? You got a limited number of people you can fight. You asked for this. You hyped yourself. You have to fight one of these guys, and there's nothing but killers right there. A bunch of people who might happen to be in those 10 people, which are the only people on the globe that can beat you up. And so what happens? Okay, guy starts spinning himself up. He's not fighting up to his capacity. He's better than he's fighting at, but he's spun up and he can't get out from under the lights. Okay, he needs a fucking tune-up fight. Can't have it, star cycle, dude. You can't have it. You can't have the tune-up fight. You're gonna fight these top guys and you're gonna do it under the lights. You either figure it out or you're gonna fucking swim. Sink or swim. Okay, that's the star cycle. So, perfect examples of said star cycle. Okay, you could argue Darren Till is in a star cycle. That guy needs a tune-up fight so fucking bad, dude. But he's in the star cycle. You can't have fucking Darren Till fighting on the undercard, and you can't have him fight some weak-ass guy, right? Who else? Fucking Captain America that broke his leg on fucking Anderson Silva's face. Anderson Silva broke his leg on him, and then Chris Weidman, right? Chris Weidman, perfect example. Star cycle. Can't get him out of it, dude. Guy needs a fucking tune-up fight. Bad. He had to lose so many fights. He had to lose so many fights for them to give him a fucking tune-up fight. And it was still against a guy who was, 17-2? Some shit. Kevin Lee fucking needed a tune-up fight so bad. He pulled out that Gilbert Gillespie highlight reel knockout. And that was a one-off, dude. But look at the guys he was fighting. He's stuck in the star cycle. Okay? Can't give him someone who's not that good. And I'm sure you can think of a lot of other examples of this, of guys you knew, you're like, fucking A, give this guy an easy fight. And it's like, you can't. You can't. This is his one shot, and you either got to fucking fight your way through it or you don't. Now, Kevin Lee, I will say this. He is one of the only guys that I would say got trapped in the star cycle, went on a losing streak, and now is straight up dropped by the UFC. He could come back, okay? He cites a 3-4 fight deal with Bellator. He gets his shit together, gets on a smaller show against inferior opponents. He goes and runs through some guys, gets some highlight knockouts. He can come back. I would suggest a sports psychologist. And I'm not joking about that. That's exactly what I would suggest, a sports psychologist. And a good one. Like a really good one. Maybe like someone who will tell you the truth, okay? I'll be your sports psychologist, okay? Now, if what the things I just said to you are kind of like resonating in terms of, you know, I was at a maximum anxiety of knowing I needed to win and a bottom of confidence for that fight, which is why that was the outcome. And when I got this tattoo, if I really think about it, I was trying to tell myself a story because I felt it slipping away. So I made the most drastic action that I could possibly take. I got a tattoo on my fucking head that I'm a fighter. Now, luckily, like I said, you don't need to hang your head about that. That is what you are. You're a fighter that would beat the shit out of fucking everyone on earth except for a handful of people. But I'm sure that's not what you had in mind when you got that thing tattooed on your head, right? So if these things are resonating with you, hit me up. I will talk to you. I will talk you through this. I will make you a fucking star again. I will make you win, and I will get you back on track, and we can fucking, Jesus Christ, you give me you as my piece of clay to mold in terms of hype shit? Dude, I'll have the UFC fucking begging to get you back. You go win the fights, I'll tell you what to do on the outside. And I'll do this shit free, dog. It's not about money for me, dude. I just love this shit. But yeah, so I root for the guy. I feel, what's the word? I feel sympathy for Kevin Lee, actually. And I think it's because I understand his psychological game, because you have the same psychological game as me, kind of, right? Just in the fact I can see you're a guy, you are not well suited for talking shit and calling your shot. It's not a good thing for you, right? But yeah, I mean, obviously we also have the thing in common that a lot of homosexual men want to melt a stick of butter on our body. And you want to know what? I'm down for that. You want to melt a stick of butter on my body? Gay guy? I'm down, dude. Go ahead and do it. Can you think of anybody else who would love to melt a stick of butter on my body? Huh? He's about the size of a stick of butter. Hint. Who do you think it is? Can you carry that stick of butter? Being that you're the size of a stick of butter, can you do it? Here, oh, look at you. Oh my gosh, he's gonna make it. Here, oh, let me take my shirt off. Hurry up. Lay it on me. Good job, little guy. You did it. Now come get your reward, little Fabi. This got weird. Anyway, that's what I've got. So subscribe to the channel, ring the fucking bell, and like this video if you are pissed about the dislike video. Or what button?